98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com presents the Mid-Columbia Today Show with Mark Bailey. Special thanks to our sponsors, Skyline Hospital, Eastside Paving, and Del Carpine Automotive. Now, here's Mark Bailey.
It's 8:05 in the morning, Mid-Columbia Today. It is a Monday, the 6th of July, and we hope you enjoyed your holiday weekend out there. And we return, whether you're listening live or listening to the podcast, we're back. I'm back for a couple of weeks. I'm going to take off for a week. Time for me to start to take my summer weeks off before the summer goes away. It'll be a hot one today, by the way. Low to mid-90s in the area. Light winds. Winds pick up tomorrow. Luckily, didn't have a whole lot of fire issues over the weekend, except, if you lived in Antelope. And there was a little bit, one, I guess, on Friday that burned in kind of the Crawford Oaks fire. Sure seemed like for the stuff that might have happened 4th of July, it was an awful lot in the Dallesport area. That was kind of where they had a couple of them last night, or Saturday night, I should say. That fire in Antelope pretty much sounds like has been put under control. Last containment update they gave was 80% on Sunday. So, happily with that. Supposed to be a bit of a respite today from the winds. I mean, we've had some strong winds consistently now for a while. Tomorrow, though, there is a fire weather warning for especially the eastern part of the area. So I think we're under a fire weather warning till November is my guess, in reality, if we really break it down. We just need to be careful out there. Here's what we're doing this morning, at least we're hoping to. First part of the show, we're expecting Tanya Fireman to join us from Kiteboard for Cancer. That is going to be celebrating its 20th anniversary this year in Hood River. And Tanya, I don't think was involved the last couple of years, but the founder has returned, and we will talk to her about what they've got planned. I understand they're kind of getting back to their roots a little bit in this year's event. Second half of the show, Jim Winterbottom is going to be here. Hood River Garbage and the Dalles Disposal. And Jim is going to talk about with us a new addition to both the Hood River and the Dalles disposal sites. It's a place where you can drop off things that are recyclable, but you can't recycle them in the recycle bins. This gets very confusing for a lot of us. I put myself in this group. But we'll talk about, what this is filling here, the hole that's being filled. So all that's coming up on Mid-Columbia today. But first, as we always do, let's tell you what this day has meant and what it means, at least to some people. This day in 1885, French scientist Louis Pasteur tested an anti-rabies vaccine on 9-year-old Joseph Meister, who had been bitten by an infected dog. The boy did not develop rabies. 1933, the first All-Star baseball game played at Comiskey Park in Chicago. The American League beat the National League by a score of 4-2. 1942, Anne Frank, her parents and sister entered a secret annex in an Amsterdam building where they were later joined by 4 other people. They hid from Nazi occupiers for 2 years before being discovered and arrested. 1944, an estimated 168 people died in a fire that broke out during a performance in the main tent of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus in Hartford, Connecticut. 1945, President Harry S. Truman signed an executive order establishing the Medal of Freedom. 1957, Althea Gibson became the first black tennis player to win a Wimbledon singles title as she defeated fellow American Darlene Hart 6-3, 6-2. 1988, 167 North Sea oil workers were killed when explosions and fires destroyed a drilling platform. 2013, an Asiana Airlines Boeing 777 from Seoul, South Korea, crashed while landing at San Francisco International Airport, killing 3 passengers and injuring 181. 2018, 6 followers of the Aum Shinrikyo Doomsday Cult were hanged along with its leader, Shokoo Asahara. They had been convicted of crimes, including a 1995 sarin gas attack that killed 13 people and made thousands of others sick on the Tokyo subway system. And in 2020, the Trump administration formally notified the UN of its withdrawal from the World Health Organization. President Donald Trump had criticized the organization's response to the coronavirus pandemic. The pullout later halted by President Joe Biden's administration. Our days for today, it is International Kissing Day today. National Air Traffic Control Day. This was the day, I forget the year, but in the 30s when, here in the United States, the air control system was established. It's Virtually Hug a Virtual Assistant Day. So we can get completely out of touch with reality. It's also Take Your Webmaster to Lunch Day for whatever reason. And for our food today, it's National Fried Chicken Day today. Which sounds good, but do you really want to have yourself in the kitchen frying chicken on a 90-plus degree day? I can't say. I would think that would be better in the wintertime, to do that then. I try to avoid using the oven in particular, the stove, when it's hot like this, because it just adds a heat to the house. I mean, you have to run the air conditioner longer and just, This is a day for cold cut. National Cold Cut Day today would be a really good one to have. I know we've had that before. Probably it's in February. Anyway, there you go for what it's worth. Probably not a whole lot. Well, we hope to have a guest for you when we come back. If not, I'm sure I can think of something to say after the weekend, right after this.
Hey, Oregon, it's your cool dad. Let's have a little talk. I know. Every summer it feels like the same routine. Summer weather leaves our state hot and dry, and our outdoor activities can accidentally spark a wildfire. We just need everyone to make sure that doesn't happen, okay? Whether we're having a campfire, mowing the lawn, or driving the car, we just have to be careful. So let's put on that smoky hat and keep Oregon green.
Did you know Skyline Health in White Salmon has its very own sports medicine doc superstar? That's right. Dr. Ryan Petering trained at OHSU, cared for professional Nike athletes, and even spent more than 15 years teaching other doctors how it's done. From sporting injuries to arthritis, he's here to help you move better, feel stronger, and keep doing the things you love. Want to live life to its fullest? Step right up and visit myskylinehealth.org. Skyline Health, world-class care right here at home.
Mid-Columbia Today is a public affairs program of Bicoastal Media Columbia River, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com. Now, back to Mark Bailey.
It is 8:13 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today. Well, I guess I'm going to talk about a couple things here. Well, I've got the time, apparently. First of all, seems like, at least from where I observed, living on the Heights and Hood River. I live by West Side Elementary School. Seems like people were taking the fireworks ban seriously. Heard very little over the weekend. The only one time I really heard pops was in about that 9 p.m. hour on the 4th of July. Where I live. I didn't hear really anything any place else, or any other times. Hood River County and Wasco County, of course, had fireworks bans. And at least my limited observance here, and again, maybe your experience varies, people took it seriously. I mean, I in past years have heard stuff. I didn't hear it this year. Not nearly what I've heard in the past. So, now maybe also because I think my current dog, the new puppy, doesn't seem to get that worked up about it, where I've had dogs that have gotten worked up. So perhaps I just had a different perspective on it, but I just didn't hear that much this year, which was good. I mean, that's terrific. We don't. I know it can be disappointing for some people. I get that. But let's face it, what puts a damper on a holiday celebration more than the landscape catching fire? That'll put a damper on all the fun. So good out there that at least from maybe your experience was different. Maybe you live someplace, you go, no, I'm hearing this all over the place. But I did detect that we were getting a lot here. And maybe people just enjoyed the shows that are done by the folks who are licensed, they're experts, they're professionals in some cases, etc. We had shows in Stevenson, Cascade Locks, Hood River, and the Dalles. And perhaps people just chose to enjoy it out in that way. But again, maybe someplace else your experience may vary on this. Big news out of the weekend, though, came involving the pear growers, of course. Governor Tina Kotek on Thursday, heading into the holiday weekend, asking the U.S. Department of Agriculture for disaster relief on this. Sounds like it's desperately needed. Columbia Gorge Fruit Growers, which is not a group that sends out a lot of press releases, they sent a fairly dire press release. They do have burdens. I mean, some of this, again, you have the pear scilla pest. That's, and the excessive heat, low snowpack. Not a whole lot anybody can do about. I mean, the last two, the heat and the snowpack, not a lot of people can do about. I mean, pear scilla, we got great people at, Mid-Columbia Agricultural Research and Extension Center trying to figure out ways to limit pests like that. The overtime rules, I think we really need in Oregon to look at this. And I get it. There's a balance here. You have one side where people are going, farm workers are getting taken advantage of. Another side that will tell you the farm workers are actually being hurt by the overtime rules because they can't make as much money as they would like to during these harvest periods. It's not like a lot of jobs where you can kind of have a consistent 40 hours for 52 weeks a year. Doesn't happen. The busy season hits. It's really busy. Now, I don't know about overtime because I'm in one of those exempt positions that we don't get those things. But I signed on for it. I get it. But you've got, I think we really got to look at this because there is another element here to this, which is the global competition part, which also caused a weak market. Our growers in a lot of things, and this is not just pears, but our agriculture industry does work from a disadvantage because they face a lot of rules and restrictions a lot of the world does not have. It probably starts with wages, but you can go into other areas of it as well. Restrictions on maybe pesticides, etc. And again, I'm not saying you rip all this out because some of this is actually necessary. I think especially on the pesticide side of this. But I think there needs to be a step back and a realistic look at that overtime part. Because we talked about this a few years ago. It came out, the rules were passed. And it may just not be realistic to do those rules that they have. I want to say 48 hours. They were phasing in. I remember that. I'm not an agricultural expert, so I'm probably kind of talking out of turn here. But I just don't. We talk about so many other areas of the economy, and I think we at times do take the ag part for granted. And this is still a large part of our economy is significant, tied to agriculture. And we really got to start to take that under consideration. I think and this gets back to that. I haven't had the chance to use that urban-rural divide phrase a lot lately. It doesn't seem to be at the forefront the way it was, but I think it's still there. I think there are times when people are voting, and from an urban perspective, I know I would have had that. I'll be honest, growing up in Eugene, I probably would look at these overtime rules and gone, well, that's similar to the rules that all labor employment's under, that we live with. And so I can understand where this perspective comes from, but I'm not sure it's realistic. Farming is a difficult business to be in, and we have a lot of family farms around here. My fear is you're going to lose those family farms, and we're going to see more. I don't know whether pears are subject to the corporatization that some other things, like especially down in California, have been. The corporate farms. I'm not sure the economy of scale is there. I don't know. I'm not an expert. We'll have to talk to others who are. But hopefully the U.S. Department of Agriculture, I mean, they assist a lot of crops. They do in this country. Our orchardists around here haven't asked for a lot of help. I would certainly hope they get it here. Certainly hope they get it. We're going to try to have, I didn't see any of this until after I had, quote, gone on my break. Had left and taken a 3-day weekend. But we'll try to have them on before I go on vacation. I don't really have any spots, but we'll make one. And try to kind of dig into this again a little bit. We did a little bit with cherries the other day. Now, of course, this is about pears specifically. Because I do have some questions about the future of pears as a commodity anyway. I do think there are some questions to be answered about where is the future for this, even if some of the regulation part of this gets untangled. But anyway. I thought we had a guest, so that's why I'm kind of stammering away on this one. But, not great news. I know you've got a lot of our orchardists listen to this show. So, got to dig into that a little bit more and see what's going on with that. Also, we didn't get word just before, again, I headed out. Dick Schaffeld in Wasco County announced he's going to run as a write-in for that position 3. Remember, that's the seat that Phil Brady passed away on Election Day, the incumbent. He was the top vote getter among the 3, and it was a fairly close vote among the 3. Mike Ernest was second, and apparently under state law, Ernest's name is the only one that advances now the November ballot because of Brady's passing. Nobody had more than 50%. Schaffeld was third. And he announced on his campaign Facebook page he is going to run as a write-in candidate. I suspect we're going to get another one or two in this before it's over. That is just the feel I get from it. And my suspicion will come at least one from someone who would be similar to Brady's viewpoints and political leanings. I suspect that's where we're going to see another write-in candidate. As you know, if you listen to me over the years, write-in candidacies, I think I've seen one work here in 30-plus years in the Mid-Columbia. It takes special circumstances for these to be viable, because frankly, they're hard to let people know. They're hard to execute. They're just really hard. This is one of those special circumstances where this can be a little bit different. Because of the situation. And because there'll be time to put the campaign together. A lot of times what sinks writing campaigns is they suddenly decide to do it like 2 weeks before the election. And oddly enough, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Schaffeld making the announcement here now in July. So what, we're 4 months out? That's probably enough time to put that together. And like I said, I think there's maybe going to be another one before it's done. I've been hearing about this, rumblings of this. Scott Hagee will be on with us, by the way, next week, which would have been a Phil Brady appearance, by the way. And we'll see if we can find out some more. They're on the 15th of July. He and Jeff Justison had indicated at their meeting last week they're going to move on however they're going to handle that vacant seat. Which I think the idea of taking applications, I think because of the time span, you have an election in November and the term ends with the new year. I think they kind of have taken the attitude of, by the time you do the application process, you're probably into September. And then, okay, yeah, now you're only 2 months away from an election. Why do it? So they're either going to just appoint someone for the rest of the term. And they've had people apparently say that they want to do it, and are willing to do it, and do it on an interim basis. Or number two, just leave it vacant until the election. I mean, I think they both have verbalized a couple of times, but the problem with that is what happens if something happens to one of them? Then it's just, then I think it goes to the state, I think, to appoint people at that point. So, well, again, Scott's scheduled on the show next Tuesday, next week. And that'll actually be the day before that discussion. So we'll probably talk about that with Scott a little bit to kind of get an idea of where that is headed for. But, yeah, again, Dick Schaffeld's going to run as a writing candidate for the Wasco County Commission, and my suspicion is there'll be another. I've been wrong, but I just think there'll probably at least be one more writing candidate. Maybe more. We'll see. 8:26. There, we filled it. Jim Winterbottom scheduled to be with us second half of the show. So we'll talk to Jim about this recycle. Jim's already out in the studio, so we know we have a second guest. We'll come back and give you the news, though, right after this.
Got a drip that just won't quit? Or a shower that turns cold right when you need it hot? When plumbing goes sideways in the Columbia Gorge, Chinook Plumbing is the family-owned team that's been setting it right since 1989. At Chinook Plumbing, we treat every plumbing problem like it's happening in our own home. From clogged drains to water heaters, gas lines, remodels, sewer and water line replacements, and those unexpected emergencies. We've got you covered. Give us a call or visit us at ChinookPlumbingHoodRiver.com. CCB number 240452.
Coffee for Mid-Columbia Today guests is provided by Hood River Coffee Roasters, the Gorge's local coffee roasters, on Tucker Road on the Heights in Hood River.
And it is now 8:28 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today. And let's take a look at what has been the news. And we actually have been talking about it a little bit here. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek asked the U.S. Department of Agriculture for disaster relief for Columbia Gorge and Oregon pear growers, as bins of Oregon pears that cost $300 to grow may fetch nothing on the market as farmers confront the consequences of a disastrous 2025 season. Kotek's letter notes pear growers face bin prices of $0 to $150 in some varieties, owing to a weak market fueled in part by global competition. Kotek's request comes at a crucial time for growers of Oregon state fruit. Pears are harvested around August or September, but farmers aren't paid for their crops until they are sold, often months after they're stored in cold facilities. That means Oregon pear growers are waiting for final checks from the 2025 season as they push in the 2026 harvest. And Columbia Gorge Fruit Growers Chair Leslie Tamura said in a statement the combination of excessive heat, low snowpack, and Pearsilla has cut grower revenue in half this year. She adds some growers don't have enough money to cover their current production expenses. A fire 1 mile north of Antelope burned 1,261 acres in grass, brush, and sage. Central Oregon Fire Information said the fire started early Saturday afternoon. It led to a level 3 go now evacuation advisory for Antelope. By Sunday morning, firefighters had achieved an 80% containment level. Evacuation advisories were dropped to level 1 be ready. Meanwhile, the Dallesport area saw multiple fires over the weekend, including a 10-acre fire that sparked Friday afternoon north of Highway 14 near Crawford Oaks. Saturday evening, there was a 1-acre brush fire near the Columbia River and a set of small fires near the old ferry dock. A 64-year-old man from the Dalles was taken to a Vancouver hospital after an accident involving a motorcycle and a pickup on Highway 14 in Skamania County. According to the Washington State Patrol, the motorcyclist was eastbound on Highway 14 at milepost 24 west of North Bonneville on Sunday morning at around 11:15 when he crossed the center line for an unknown reason. The motorcycle struck a westbound pickup head-on. The motorcycle is taken to Peace Health Southwest Medical Center in Vancouver for treatment of undisclosed injuries. The WSP says the pickup truck driver was uninjured. Dick Schaffeld announcing he has decided to run as a writing candidate for Wasco County Commission Position 3 during the November general election. Schaffeld ran in the primary for the seat and finished third to the late Phil Brady and Mike Ernest. With Brady's passing, Ernest is named the only one that will be on the ballot. It is, as far as temperature is concerned, Stevenson at 68 degrees, the Dalles 69, Hood River has already hit 70. It is 8:31 in the morning.
Got joint pain, sports injury? Whether you're a competitive athlete, weekend warrior, or just focused on keeping active, Providence Hood River Orthopedic Clinic is there when you need them and can help you keep out there playing for life. Call us today at 541-387-1337.
Need fast, friendly service? Swing by Les Schwab Tire Center on West Cascade and Hood River. Our team hustles to take care of your tires, brakes, shocks, alignments, and more. Trust the experts at your Les Schwab Tire Center in Hood River for all your auto needs.
Hey, it's Zach from Del Carpino Automotive, where we specialize in keeping European rides happy. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, and even those tall Sprinter vans that look like hotels on wheels. We know them inside and out. And if you're wondering where we went, we didn't go far. We're just now 5 minutes from our old shop in our brand new location in the Upper Hood River. Same trusted crew, more space, and the same honest, family-owned service. Come see us at Del Carpino Automotive. European expertise and Columbia Gorge roots.
Mid-Columbia Today is a public affairs program of Bi-Coastal Media Columbia River, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com. Now, back to Mark Bailey.
8:35 in the morning. Jim Winterbottom for Hood River Garbage and the Dalles Disposal is here this morning. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mark.
And got a release here a few days ago about something called RecycleOn. And this is, I think sometimes we all get confused or frustrated, or both, about what we can put in the bins, what we can't, and we feel like, shouldn't this be recyclable? This starts to address that, doesn't it?
It does. It takes specific items that do have a recyclable value and removes them from the sort stream, if you will. Mm-hmm. These items are traditionally hard to get out of the single stream mix, and when Recycle Modernization Act went into effect July 1st, 2025, it created a uniform statewide collection list, which is your cart at your curb, and it increased the number of items that are available to put in the cart. And it also addressed getting these hard-to-recycle items a responsible end market. So we finally got our RecycleOn depot at Hood River Garbage and the Dalles Disposal, and it's offering a little bit of more ability to take these materials.
So what will people be able to drop off at this site? What's going to be available?
So basically we have 5 added commodities, plastic bags, stretch film.
People feel I know a lot about, and when you say stretch film, is that?
It could be either something that wraps a palletized material or even the bags that your Costco paper towel rolls may come in.
Okay,
something like that.
Something like, I was thinking originally saran wrap when I heard that.
On a greater scale, basically, yeah.
Okay, all right. So that'll be, I know if it's the plastic bag part will make people feel a lot better.
Sure,
they can do
absolutely.
something with those. Okay.
And then plastic lids. These are snap-on type lids that you would see on a cottage cheese tub, sour cream container, things like that. The flat snap-ons.
And if I remember right, the tubs now you can recycle in the bin.
Tubs go in the bin, yeah.
Why was it that you can't throw the lids in the bin?
Well, I don't run a processing plant, but what I've been told is they're not 3D. When they're laying on a belt to sort them, it's a two-dimensional item, and the photocells and the robotics can't pick it up.
Okay, so those you can drop off the RecycleOn. Next up.
Rigid plastic package handles. You see these on 6-pack beer containers that the can snaps into the top of it. So now those are recyclable as well.
Okay.
Plastic buckets and pails. This is a duplicate because these are also on the uniform statewide list, as well as they have a home in the RecycleOn depot. So,
really?
And that's probably the thing we're taking the most of right now is buckets.
Really? I didn't know you could throw. I mean, I'm trying to remember. Can you throw in now? See, that's where the confusion always gets in.
Sure.
Oh, good.
Yep.
There we
got you a little guide.
Well, okay. They're when you go to the nursery and you get plants, the plastic.
Those can now go in. Yes.
Those can go in the bins.
Yes.
Okay. All right. If I can see more, the plastic pots. There we go. They're in the bins. But so why are we duplicating here though? That's interesting.
We're not sure on that one because this is all done by the Producer Responsibility Organization.
Okay.
And I don't know if they want to have a better stream of clean material for that product. I'm not sure.
Well, the other part might be because those we think about those can get bigger.
Right.
I wonder if in some cases
I think
they just
is.
take up a lot of space in the bin. So if you can, that might be what gets thrown out if in a bin situation. Whereas if you have a place to take it, they'll just take it.
Yeah, 5-gallon bucket full of laundry detergent takes up quite a bit of room, so that could be it too.
All right.
And then aluminum foil and trays. Just as it sounds, just regular balled up aluminum foil and pressed aluminum trays.
Now that's new overall.
That is new, yes.
And then there's one more, and this is an important one.
This is the one that we get asked the most about, and that's shredded paper. Yeah. With the caveat, it's got to be in a paper bag, rolled or stapled shut. So we don't want you coming down and just dumping off your shred.
And flinging it. Yeah, I was saying the gorge, that won't work at all with the wind.
Yeah.
So then that's a good one, too. I think that does frustrate because we do shred things for security now at home. And I know it was frustrating. Actually, I got word of this literally a week after I had just tossed out 4 bags of shredded paper.
Yeah.
Now, though, it's good to know I can now just take it someplace. But I from what I understand with the shredded paper, the problem is it's hard to process.
It is. Once it gets on a belt or a screen system, shredded paper, the pieces are just nobody can grab the pieces; they're too small.
So you take these out of the general recycling stream. How do these then get recycled? I think at some point they get processed, don't they?
They do. So this is picked up by a third-party vendor that takes it to a different facility where they reload, package, and ship direct to responsible end markets.
Okay.
So they don't even hit what we would call a processing facility.
Okay.
Whereas the other commingle that we have, it goes down a belt. The tin cans are pulled, the cardboard's pulled, the paper's pulled, and then they go separate directions. But this material is going to go straight to a third party that will market it, bale it, and off it goes.
I mentioned the aluminum, that foil stuff. Aluminum cans always have been recyclable, but aluminum foil, this is new. What's happened there?
So by keeping it out of the single stream, it was never recognized to be pulled off a belt.
Sure.
There again, it's like a flat lid that the photo eye or the robotics cannot physically grab.
Right. So, but I'm is there now use/market for it?
As we understand it, we don't market any of the material.
Sure.
But,
right, I know you guys don't. But yeah,
it's documented that it has to go to responsible end market. So
now with aluminum foil, I think when a lot of us use aluminum foil, we've used it in a food manner. Do you have to wash this stuff off?
They ask that it be washed and dried.
Okay.
If you've got to spend more time and more natural resources to clean the item to recycle it, you as a customer has to ask yourself, is this really worth it?
Right.
There are pizza boxes where the liners come out, which saves the good cardboard.
Sure.
But if you have you're coming home from a July 4th barbecue and someone hands you a pack of ribs to take home in foil, I would just go ahead and probably think not of putting that in recycle.
Okay, it just takes so much time. Yeah. But there are some things though that aluminum foil does get used for that will
absolutely
work with.
Yeah.
So if you have the clean aluminum foil,
yep.
It does seem to me though the plastics are the big step here, aren't they?
They are. It's it's. To mine virgin material to get in the plastic market is just cost prohibitive anymore, and so the more we can get back into the stream that was already used once or multiple times, much better off.
I'd be interested to know with the bins, because you do spend a lot of time trying to tell people here's what you need to do, et cetera, et cetera. How does that go? I mean, do people tend to do what they need to do with these bins?
Most people are very responsible and responsive to our comments and suggestions. And then there's always going to be the few folks that I'm going to fill the container up with whatever I want to put in it. Yeah. It's not uncommon for us to see a recycle cart in the city, either here or the Dalles, that they put yard debris in. Well, yard debris is recyclable, but it doesn't say anywhere on that cart that we want yard debris in the cart.
That's the compost bin.
Yes. So for the most part, people really try to do. They're well-meaning.
They do the best they. I have had the unfortunate having to try to reach my arm in to get something. I threw it in the wrong bin because I'm half asleep when I do it. It is because one of the problems is if you put it in the wrong bin, it screws up really a whole stream of items.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Yep. So if we can see it in the top of the bin, we're able not to take the bin. We can take a photo, email the customer, and say, hey, by the way, this particular item, isn't recyclable. Yeah. But once it's in the truck, then there's not a lot we can do about it.
Yeah. So now you do the plastic bags. Now, how do people take? I think it's just drive it in, isn't it?
Sure, just drive it in. You've been to Hood River Garbage before. Just come around the corner like you do for your normal recycling. And there's a standalone building, a seagoing container that's painted up and advertised RecycleOn. There's information inside the door. The attendants are more than willing to come in and give you a hand on what goes where. So yeah, just walk on in and take a look around.
I assume probably this is just in its infancy at this point, so it's hard to tell how it's being received.
Yeah, I think there's 32 statewide so far. Started in Southern Oregon, Ashland, Medford area. Good response. Then we got the Hood River and the Dalles location, and we're moving out to Sherman County next for the city of Morrow. So,
yeah, you mentioned counties. When we talk about the bins, and that tends to be a city thing, be it Hood River or the Dalles. Are we eventually going to see bins move out further?
We are. We're seeing some questions come up about it from the Producer Responsibility Organization. They want to get out in the counties, which traditionally haven't had historically a 4,000 threshold in their population. That's the number needed. But it's going to decrease, and we're going to move out to the counties.
I would think especially Hood River County in particular, because there's, when you look at Hood River County's population, 2/3 of it do not live in the city of Hood River.
Right.
And I remove some Cascade Locks folks, obviously, but certainly I would think, at least in an Odell type area, that I would think the economy of scale is there to be able to get that out there eventually.
It is, and they've got a rank order on what counties are going next and who's going. So I don't have that information in front of me, but it's coming to the gorge.
Okay, so that's coming as well. And because we've talked about this before. Recycling rates go up when it's easier.
Absolutely.
That is the bottom line here. As someone who operates a landfill, and 2 landfills actually, when as recycling rates go up, what does that mean for those landfills? What do you see? Are you seeing a difference there?
Not really. The landfills take large projects that the amount of recycling that we're keeping out of the landfill, doesn't really affect one way or the other. And it's just better for everybody. It adds years to the lifespan of the landfill. And it's the recycle back to the markets where it belongs.
Actually, speaking of something you guys have been doing, you did a couple of these. I don't know if it's coming back anytime soon, but mattresses.
Yeah.
Opportunities for mattresses, because those are a pain in the tail to get rid of.
They are. We've done some quarterly events, and I believe the next one coming up is either August or September, but I'll definitely make sure get the word out to the cities and counties on that. Yeah,
we've had it on our community calendar there the last couple times, and I would think that's popular just because, again, mattresses, they're difficult to deal with. They really are.
Yeah.
So it'll be so it's good, though, to see, this start to... Could we see these RecycleOn centers? I assume right now they're focusing on at garbage disposal sites.
Yes, for the most part. That's the high traffic areas where they can capture the most material.
Okay. I was saying, could we see them maybe go to different type places down the road?
Well, so the one that's going to be set in Morrow in Sherman County is at the recycle depots that we currently have there. So there's no other draw than coming in to recycle.
Yeah, because I was saying the one drawback here to this, for best in an area where we're spread out, is for a lot of people, it's a drive-in to do this.
Right. And we're hoping once the initial rollout hits and is completed, that we can get more than one per county, because that's kind of the criteria right now.
Oh, yeah, try to get, I can understand that, is get one established everywhere and then grow from there.
Because like you said, mentioned Odell, if we could get a depot at Parkdale or one out in Maupin, just to try to, so people don't have to work so hard to get their material recycled.
I know for a lot of people, they want to recycle. And we talk about, A, number one is knowing what you can put in, but B, also the easier it is, where it's convenient rather than, even though I think we're used to driving 15, 20 miles to do things in a lot of ways. But at the same time, our gas prices have gone down a little bit here over the last few weeks.
But you got to schedule the trip. You got to make sure you
exactly. Oh, yeah, I've been holding on to that e-waste trip I made. I've been holding on to that, and I'm really just a quick couple turns, and I'm there. And there's no excuse for me. But that is the way it works, though. Sometimes is doing that. So if people have questions on RecycleOn,
sure, we can go to either our websites, Hood River Garbage or the Dalles Disposal. All this information is posted there. There's more information on RecycleOn Oregon or CAA Oregon. They all kind of point you in the same direction. And if you prefer to give us a call, our CSRs would be glad to talk to you and explain it to you.
In that way, and that's also where you can you find what goes where. And of course, on your sites, Hood River Garbage and the Dalles Disposal, you've also got information on on what goes in what recycling bin.
Yes, we do.
And again, It is getting easier, by the way. It is. You've expanded a lot of the stuff here. So I bet you the plastic tubs, I think, was really...
That's a big one.
That was a big one. Jim, thanks for coming in.
You bet, Mark. Thanks for having me.
8:50 in the morning. We'll come back and talk about a couple other things right after this.
Hi, this is Michelle from Hood River Supply. Not only are we Hood River's go-to for hardware, supplies, rentals, and more, we're also your local stop to fuel up and hit the road. Our Cenex Roadmaster XL Premium Diesel Fuel and Cenex Maxtron Diesel Engine Oil work together to deliver power, performance, and protection for your cars, trucks, and hardworking equipment. Drive farther, run stronger, trust the fuel and products built to keep you moving. Available at Hood River Supply on the Heights and in Odell, your co-op store.
Hi, this is Nicole with McCoy Holliston Insurance, powered by Your Policy. We're honored to be recognized the best insurance agency in the Gorge 5 years running. This reflects the trust, loyalty, and long-term relationships we've built with our clients for nearly 80 years. At McCoy Holliston, we take pride in offering dependable guidance and personal service. Whether you need protection for your home, car, business, farm, or life, your trust means everything to us. Call us at McCoy Holliston Insurance, where relationships and service still come first.
The Hood River County Fair returns July 22nd through 25th. Bring the whole family for days packed with carnival rides, great fair food, livestock, exhibits, local traditions, and unforgettable entertainment. Friday night, celebrate with the incredible show band Bondadosis and Grupo Maravilla de Robin Maravilla live on stage. Then Saturday night, country legends Black Hawk take the stage for a concert you won't want to miss. Summer memories are made at the Hood River County Fair in Odell, July 22nd through 25th. Concerts are free with fair admission.
Hello, I'm Doug Stepina with the City of Hood River. As our community plans for the future, we're taking a close look at two important challenges. In an emergency, our police facility must remain operational even after a major earthquake or fire. Today, it does not meet modern seismic or backup power standards. At the same time, housing shortages continue to put pressure on the workforce that keeps our community running. This month, the City Council is considering whether to refer 2 general obligation bonds to voters this November to address these needs. Visit hoodriver.gov/bond to learn more and stay informed.
Coffee for Mid-Columbia Today guests is provided by Hood River Coffee Roasters, the Gorge's local coffee roasters, on Tucker Road on the Heights in Hood River.
And it is 8:51 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today. I thought I'd grab a story here I saw just because I thought it was just... I don't think ridiculous is the right word, but it just made me shake my head. This is off the Coin TV website in Portland. Apparently, several people in Washington have been criminally cited after hiding crabs from the Washington coast in their clothing. 4 shellfish harvesters apparently attempted to nab 21 Dungeness crab from the Tokeland Tidelands on June 16th, according to body camera footage the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife shared this past week. The department apparently reported an officer was observing the group last month when he saw a man put a live crab into the hood of a jacket a woman was wearing. The man tried to conceal the crab by moving the woman's large sun hat, according to officials. WDFW revealed another couple then joined the man and woman, and the group denied having any crabs when the officer asked, but authorities said the officer detected crab legs protruding from the woman's hood. And he also noted their clothing seemed to droop, showed bulges, and they walked carefully. The group then submitted 5 crabs for inspection. They repeatedly denied having more crabs, even after the officer asked 6 times. The officer then lifted the woman's hat, revealing one of the crabs. They reported the woman began removing crab from their clothes as law enforcement pointed out all the hiding spots. WDFW said the group had sewn pouches into their clothes to help hide the crabs. Body camera footage shows an officer asking, quote, "Does she have crab in her bra?" after telling the group they would be cited. Authorities revealed 19 of the crabs recovered were undersized. 1 was female. In addition, authorities said they seized 3 crab-hiding bandoliers and a puffer jacket with pouches. I didn't know Dungeness crab was that difficult to get that you'd go to that length. Number 2, last I checked, crabs have pinchers. I would think you are endangering some sensitive areas, shall we say. Stuffing crab into clothing. I wish they'd had the answer to the question. The story doesn't have the answer to the question, does she have crab in her bra? So there you go. If you want something weird to think about, I think I gave it to you. Now, I'm not trying to make light. You should not be harvesting crab that's not ready, undersized, out of season, etc. But wow. Trying to hide 21 crab on your person and expecting you're going to get away with it. I love the part the pinchers are showing out. The crab legs are showing out their clothing. That's fabulous. I suspect they won't be allowed to do this again. It's 8:55 in the morning. We will come back and wrap it up. I don't have anything to top this right after this.
Tune in weekday mornings at 8:05 and keep up with community events and issues with the Mid-Columbia Today Show on Mid-Columbia's news leaders, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR. Special thanks to our sponsors, Skyline Hospital, Eastside Paving, and Del Carpine Automotive.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think I ever thought I would utter the question in a quote in a news story, does she have crab in her bra? There's no college education that prepares you for this, by the way. Not a one. Here's what's coming up on the show tomorrow. We're going to start with our candidate interviews. We actually start doing things important here. Tony Warren, Klickitat County Sheriff's candidate. We got 6 Klickitat County Commission and Sheriff's candidates coming over the next 2 weeks. So we'll talk to Tony Warren. Cindy Thiemann, Hood River Watershed Group's also scheduled to join us on Tuesday. And I have this horrible fear I booked them both in the same time slot. I'll email Cindy. We'll slide out of that. Wednesday, Mid-Columbia Community Action, Hood River County Health Department. Thursday, Klickitat County Commission candidate Andy Callanan and Skyline Hospital. Friday, Lori Zoller, Klickitat County Commission candidate, and we're scheduled to talk Columbia Gorge Discovery Center on the program. So all that coming up on Mid-Columbia Today over the course of the next few days on the show with a new week. We'll mention some of the other Klickitat County candidates. July 15th, Klickitat County Sheriff's candidate John Bruce. On the 16th, Klickitat County Commission candidate Gene Klajeski. And on the 17th, Dwayne Matulovich. I all of a sudden can't say his name. Matulovich. There we go. My apologies. He'll be on the show on the 17th. So there we go. Matulovich. I just all of a sudden lost my ability to speak in any sort of manner. I think I'm still astounded at the crab story. I'm just floored at what people will do. Just utterly floored. Somebody wrote a book, by the way, called The Death of Common Sense. It was probably based on stuff like this. So there you go. I'm done. I have to take time to process this. For Cameron Eisenberg producing, I'm Mark Bailey. Have a great day. Talk to you on Tuesday.
Mid-Columbia Today Show is a public affairs presentation of Bicoastal Media Columbia River. The views expressed on the program are not necessarily those of the station, parent company, or of the sponsors. We welcome your suggestions for future shows. Call us at 541-386-1511. Listen to Mid-Columbia Today where you want. Follow or subscribe to Mid-Columbia Today wherever you download your podcast to get the show delivered every day to your mobile device.